Alright guys, in this video we're going to be introducing the topic of synthetic division in algebra. Now what synthetic division is just like long division, it's trying to figure out how many times a binomial or polynomial expression goes into a larger polynomial expression. But before we get into the algebra introduction, let's recap a little bit about division in general. So let's say I have 80 divided by 2. Recall that the number being divided is known as your dividend. And the number that the dividend is divided by is your divisor. Okay? So the overall number that's being divided is your dividend, and what it's being divided by is your divisor. Keeping that in mind, let's introduce the algebra. So let's say I have the expression, the polynomial 3x cubed minus 2x squared minus 7x plus 6 divided by the expression x plus 1. Now again, just like in long division or division, the number or value or expression being divided is the dividend, and what it's being divided by is the divisor. So let's rewrite this in a little bit more friendlier way, instead of as a quotient or a fraction. Okay, so let's first determine what we're trying to figure out here. Again, we're trying to figure out how many times x plus 1 can go into the expression 3x cubed minus 2x squared minus 7x plus 6. Now what we're going to do is we're going to be trying to use the distributive property to help us with this. So let's first figure out how many times can x go into 3x cubed. Well, we know that x can go into x cubed by adding the exponents of x to the first power times something to give us x to the third. That's what we do when we multiply exponents. So what times x to the first will give us x cubed? X squared. So remember, x squared times x is going to give us x to the third. Then we just have to multiply by the coefficient on that variable. So 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. So let's go ahead and use the distributive property now with 3x squared into this expression. So 3x squared times x is 3x cubed. And 3x squared times positive 1 is positive 3x squared. Now, just like in long division, we're going to subtract. These are going to cancel, the x cubed. So be careful here with your signs. We have a negative 2 minus positive 3x squared. So negative 2x squared minus positive 3x squared is a negative 5x squared. Now, just like in long division, go ahead and bring down your next term, minus 7x. And then we're going to do the same thing. So how many times does x go into negative 5x squared? Well, what times x goes into x squared? X. So x times x is x squared. Then again, just follow the coefficient on the variable. So negative 5. So negative 5x times x is negative 5x squared. Negative 5 times a positive 1 is negative 5x times positive 1 is x. So negative 5x. Now again, we're going to subtract. Be very careful here. So negative 5 minus a negative 5 allows this to cancel. Negative 7x minus a negative 5x is a negative 2x. Okay. And now, go ahead and bring down the 6. So negative 2x plus 6. How many times can x go into negative 2x? Negative 2 times. So negative 2 times x is negative 2x. And then negative 2 times a positive 1 is a negative 2. Now again, be very careful here. Watch your signs. Negative 2x minus a negative 2x is going to be 0. Negative minus a negative is like adding a positive. Positive 6 minus a negative 2 is a positive 8. Now, you're probably asking yourself, how many times can x plus 1 go into 8? The reality is it can't. Okay, this is where we actually do determine that this expression, when divided, has a remainder. So to express a remainder in synthetic division, we take the sign that's on the remainder, so in this case it's a plus because it's a positive 8, then we take the remainder and put it over the original divisor. Again, the divisor is what the dividend is being divided by. So we have x plus 1. So our final answer is going to be the polynomial 3x cubed minus 2x squared minus 7x plus 6 divided by x plus 1 is 3x squared minus 5x minus 2 plus 8 over the quantity x plus 1. Okay, let's look at another one. Alright, so in this time, I have 2x cubed minus 5x minus 7. And it's going to be divided by x minus 2. Now the first thing you're probably going to notice is that there's a term missing. Well, it's not really missing, it's just not there. And that's perfectly okay. Not all expressions are going to have every single term from highest degree to lowest. So the fact that there's an x squared term missing here is no big deal. It's okay. Again, we're going to be approaching this in the same way, where 2x cubed minus 5x minus 7 is the dividend, and x minus 2 is the divisor. So let's start by making it a little bit more organized by rewriting it in a certain way. So whenever I have a part of, or a term missing, just because it's not in the polynomial itself, go ahead and put a 0 placeholder there just to keep things organized. And again, this is all x minus 2. Alright, so the first thing we need to figure out, just like we did in the last time, is we're going to be using the distributive property to figure out our how many times x minus 2 goes into 2x cubed minus 5x minus 7. So how many times can x go into x cubed? Well, we determined from the last example that x times x squared gives us x cubed. So we'll have x squared there. And then we just have to multiply it by the coefficient. So 2x squared, again we're going to be using the distributive property. 2x squared times x is 2x cubed. And then 2x squared times a negative 2 is a negative 4x squared. Now be careful here again, because we're going to be subtracting here. 2x cubed minus 2x cubed is 0. These cancel. 0x squared minus a negative 4x squared is a positive 4x squared. Careful with your signs there. And again, just like in long division, go ahead and bring the next part down, negative 5x. So don't just bring down the value or the term, bring down the sign with it. So how many times can x go into 4x squared? Well, x times x is x squared, and then times its coefficient is 4x squared. So we have a positive 4x. So again, x times x is x squared. 4 times x squared is 4x squared. So 4x times x is positive 4x squared. Positive 4x times negative 2 is a negative 8x. Now again, be very careful here. Positive 4x squared minus positive 4x squared is 0. Negative 5x minus a negative 8x is going to give us a positive 3x. Last but not least, go ahead and bring down the 7. The negative 7. So how many times can x go into 3x? Positive 3 times. Again, use the distributive property. So positive 3 times x is plus 3x. Positive 3 times a negative 2 is negative 6. Again, be very careful here. So these are going to cancel. Plus 3x minus positive 3x is 0. Negative 7 minus a negative 6 is a negative 1. Now again, we're at that point where x minus 2 can't fully go into negative 1. So we have determined that we do have a remainder here. So again, we're going to take the sign on the value, which is a negative sign, and then we're going to have the remainder of 1 over the quantity of our original divisor. So x minus 2. So again, when you're setting up your remainder, you take the sign that the value is associated with. This one's negative, so subtract. Then put the value of your remainder over the original divisor. Okay? So our answer for the polynomial 2x cubed minus 5x minus 7 divided by x minus 2 is going to be the expression 2x squared plus 4x plus 3 minus 1 over the quantity x minus 2. Okay? I know this guys takes a lot of steps, and there's a lot of areas where simple mistakes can be made, so take it nice and slow. Remember, we're just using the distributive property with the binomial or polynomial expression of our divisor to figure out how many times it goes into the dividend. And again, just be very careful with your signs, especially negatives, because negative minus a negative is a positive. Okay, so if you guys have any questions, again, never hesitate to contact me. I hope this video helps you guys out, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thanks for watching.